Okay, when I do videos like this is not out of hate. Just to let people like this, like I promise you, this is not out of hate. But what I don't like people doing is lying and misleading the public and not telling the full story, which, for I'll say the past 8 years, that is what ticks me off. When you talk about lies about a mission, when you talk about misleading the public and acting like you're something that you're not. And that's what I've been realizing a lot of women have been doing, leading other women astray, not telling the women that they're trying to lead astray their full story and why they are really in the position that they're in, you know? So here you're gonna have a lady, Latina woman, right? If let me see if I can zoom. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So her caption says, "How many aura points have I gained by staying celibate for 3 years, detaching my worth from men and focusing on myself?" Now, when I first saw this, my gut reaction, I was like, "Cap," and she is lying, and she is lying. Now, eventually, she gave me a BS response, right? But to her credit, I apologize. The reason why I apologize is because I described her to a T, and I told her, you know what? I took it too far. I'm sorry. So right here, I'm going to read my responses. I said, actually, so her first response was, "I know it's hard to believe some women don't want anything to do with the male species." And I'm like, my response to that was like, well, we know that. We know you don't like men because you've slept with way too many of them. Like that was basically, it's like, yeah, we know you don't like most, like we know that. That's not my argument. We just know that in terms of when you talk about what she's saying, "Oh, I'm celibate for 3 years," you're lying. So that's what I said in my replies, you know. And right here, I say, we know you don't count the slip ups, and we know this doesn't void out all the other people that you was with before her 3 year celibacy journey. So then she replied back, "Oh, I wish with all your heart that you have a good day and all this stuff." And I basically replied back, "It's not a matter of wishing upon a star. It's just, it is what it is." Now, I did apologize. The reason why is because I really should have just saw this post and just moved on. But I have this really bad habit. It's like when I know people are just blatantly lying, I'm just like, nah, I gotta like I'll even if it's like, I'm talking about if it's life or death, I'll still be like, if I should like save it, if I have to be silent, right, to save my life. But if somebody's just blatantly lying, I just can't hide it. I'll just be like, whoa, 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 wait, time out. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, a lot of women do this. They will just lie, right? Now, like I said, I'm still doing this post. Like I said, this is not out of hate. So if any of the women that came from this post came to my YouTube and saw me do the video, like I said, this is not out of hate. This is for me to teach the men in terms of, because there's a lot of men that still fall for that whole celibacy thing. So this is really more of an educational video, and I'm just kind of using her to, not in a bad way, but into just to show my point. Because you have, woman game, you got woman game, you got men game. And like I said, when a woman says, "Okay, I've been celibate for 3 years," and the first thing she says is, "It's hard to believe some women don't want anything to do with the male species." First of all, if she's saying stuff like the male species stuff, this is a feminist, right? Or somebody that this is, or you could just sum up that she hates men, which I don't doubt. We know, like, most women don't want nothing to do with most men, particularly, like, I'm talking about most women want nothing to do with the average man. Like, I'm talking about the average man could just literally just die off and they won't care. The men that she doesn't deem usable or attractive, they could just die off. They don't care. We know that. But we know before her celibacy stage, we know she's been around. The women that usually hate men the most are the ones that have been passed around the most, right? Same thing with the escorts, same thing with the strippers. They don't like men. They get in these professions and their clients are mostly men. And when you're at a job and you're dealing with customers, eventually you grow to resent the customers. So for her to come to that conclusion, we already know she doesn't like men. Now, we already know, just judging by her profile. Let me just bring up her profile real quick. Because like I said, I'm not doing this I promise you, I'm not doing this out of hate, but I have to show this example because I want to show people, whether it be men or women, how my mind works. This is how my mind works. I see a profile like this, right? If I see a profile like this, link tree in the bio. And even though I didn't, when I checked, I didn't see any OnlyFans, but I see somebody that looks like this. Travel pics, all that stuff. Luxury apartment by herself. Yet I don't really know what her job is. I'm like, things are not adding up. And I'm looking at this. First of all, her eyes kind of says it all. You guys do not want to know because she's about what? How old is she? She's about 26 or 27. I would have sworn they showed her age, but it was like around 26 or 27. Guys, when you're dealing with a woman like this, she's on pure demon time. You know what I mean? She what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So you don't want to know what this girl did in high school. Trust me, this girl done dated dudes her age. She done dated older dudes. She's probably still she probably has a sugar daddy on the side. She's done dated athletes. She's done dated all the men. She's done dated them all. Like, you know, her like wait, when people talk about, man, what's your body count? You don't ask her what her body count. Do not ask her what her body count is. You're wasting your time. It's up there. You don't want to know. So, and like I said, I'm not shaming. I'm just telling you, when you see somebody like this, and then she's pulling off. So you got the link tree in the bio, right? So it's interesting because you don't really know what she does. You're like, okay, what is it? Does she actually do? She says she's a digital creator. She is on TikTok. She does have a TikTok. You can make money off TikTok, but you're like, do you really make that much money? I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant. Maybe I don't really know how the TikTok game works. And then you're looking like, okay, what is it that she actually do? And then on her link in the bio, I see shop for my Amazon favorites. You're like, okay, that clearly doesn't make you money. She goes cooking recipe. And then I see on here white couch. I'm like, oh, so I'm not like, look. So when I see that, I'm like, it sounds like she needs some money. And you're just like, you start to put two and two together. How is she really making this money? Now, like I said, I already know how she's making this money. I've already gone over this stuff. Like I said, it's not a matter of shame. I'm just describing what I see. And like I said, a lot of these Instagram personalities, the Instagram models, these people, they do certain things on the side to make ends meet. And they use different, dating profiles on certain sugar sites, escort sites, believe it or not. They do these things on the side. Why do you think they hate men so much? Why do you think that, why do you think the average girl, right? Forget her for a second. Why do you think the average broad is like, for them to turn them on, they got to do some BDSM. They got to do, you got to handcuff them. You got to eat her out while you have her hanging upside down for her to just to feel. It's because the regular missionary and just doggy stuff, that does nothing for them. You only get to that level is if you have sex with so many men or just have sex so many times. Is like not even, it's nothing to them. You know what I mean? So this is the stuff that people men got be careful with. And like I said, she's 27. So that's where I got the 27 from. So also, let me get to when she says she's celibate, right? This is where I start teaching. When a woman says that she is celibate, that means she has done so much, whether it be an STD scare or a pregnancy scare, but her body count is so much, and with little to nothing to show for it, that she's like, okay, I'm gonna shut this down. Like I said, I know this because I'm a black man. I know black women. Black women pull this card all the time. You know what I mean? So when I see a woman talking about, oh, I'm celibate now for the past 2 years, that means before her celibacy phase, she done been through the ringer. I mean, done had trains ran on her, or she done caught STDs after STD, or she caught an STD that she can't get rid of, or she caught an STD where it was almost life threatening. You're just like, okay, I gotta shut this down. So when you hear women talking about, oh, I've been celibate for a year or two, you're just like, what made you always got to ask, what led you to this drastic decision? Now, when you see a woman say that she's 3 years celibate or 2 years celibate, that does not mean that those 3 years she was not celibate. because first of all, them women, all women got them roses, right? If you know what I mean, that rose toy. Like a woman will say that she's celibate for a year, but she has that rose, them vibrators, whatever, and they'll be talking about, oh, I'm celibate. That's number one. Number two, in their celibacy stage, they don't count the slip ups. They don't count the times that they had to mess with the landlord for rent money. They don't count the sugar daddies. They don't count the dude that she swore she was never gonna sleep with again because he did this to her and blah blah. The hookups. They don't count the slip ups in their celibacy. They'll just say, "Oh, I'm 3 years celibate. Nothing happened." That's wrong. That's wrong. Especially if you're talking about 3 years, she's lying. She's lying. And if she did really do it for 3 years, that's not without no toys. Trust me, guys. Trust me on that. That's why my instinct reaction is I looked at it, I'm like, she's lying. And I still think she's lying. But my mistake was because unfortunately I tend to do this. I'll describe. If you look at this paragraph, I described her. I got her to the T. Trust me, I got her to the T. There's no debate on that end. But I don't think that was the moment for me to do that. that wasn't even, because just to let you know, she had no comeback for what I said. All she said is, "I wish you wish your heart." When a woman replies back to you, "I know you wish with all your heart you think that was true." If she replies back to you saying that and talking about have a blessed day and all this stuff, I hope God blesses you and all, you hit the nail right on the head. Yeah. So I knew I hit the nail right on the head. So that's why I apologize on that end. Well, now let me show you something real quick, because when women go through their celibacy, quote unquote celibacy thing, there are consequences to them doing that. So there'll be some women that will go like 6-7 months, really actually do it 6-7 months without a dude, and then they'll slip up. Meaning after 6 or 7 months, then they'll go like 2 weeks, 5 different dudes, because they can't control themselves. People like to say that men can't keep it in their pants, but really women can't keep it in their pants. That's always been a projection from women. Now, right here, this is a Twitter post that I just saw, and it just proved my point right here. This woman says, "My whole years are so sporadic because like I messed with 26 ninjas in 2017, but then I messed with one ninja from 2019 through 2002, which she's lying about that. She probably messed with 2 other dudes in between that point, but she primarily messed with one dude for 3 years. That's what she's trying to say. Then she goes, then went back to my ways and messed with 100 ninjas in 2023. She said, this is a dramatization, but make no mistake, I was getting down those years. So what that post shows you, women are very, especially when they decide to quote unquote shut the punani down. Then when they slip up, because she's basically admitting, oh, but then I'd be slipping up. I'd be messing up. I'll be like, okay, I ain't gonna get this punani out to anybody. And then 2 months later, I go on a 2 weeks 2 week spree of messing with 10 dudes. This is what happens, And then if you look at the women in the comment section, they agree. They agree. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I have now, for example, I have nothing negative to say about her. This specific woman. The reason why I have really nothing negative to say about her is because she's just keeping it a buck for the most part. I know she's still lying. She's still lying on some certain things, but she's just telling you, look, my pussy management skills is not there. But in particularly, a lot of black women, they get a bad rap for keeping it real on that end. But what other races do, and what other races are now doing, because the game is being out there now, they're stealing black women's thunder by talking about, oh, I'm celibate. So that's just another thing that they're taking to help them keep that phase on. Like when you see women talk about, oh, particularly of other races, they really try to clean it up. They're not going to say it as raw as the black chick that I just showed you. But trust me, this woman right here and what's her name? And this woman right here are the exact same. I just know that she's going to get the bad rap, but she is going to still fool somebody because she still is relatively pretty-ish, with the makeup. Like with the makeup, she can fool a dude, she'll probably catch a ninja, but yeah. But like I said, if she runs across this video, or if one of her followers run across the video, because there was a lot of women that replied back to me, they kind of got triggered. But like I said, it's interesting. Shout out to this one guy. He said, "Did calling the male gender a species fuel your girl boss misandry to maximum power?" But like I said, a lot like girls like that are heavy misandrists. They really have no use for most men, but she's still a hoe. That doesn't mean that she's not a hoe, you know, just because she doesn't care for most men. Like, most women don't care for most men. Now, a lot of men are starting to figure this out now, but like for her response to be like just because I think you're lying about your celibacy doesn't mean I think your life is centered around men. No, it's not. But that doesn't negate the fact of what you did, the stuff that you did before your celibacy. That's all I was trying to say. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Was I wrong for apologizing to, because I'll say this, I did take it too far.